Okay, hello guys, welcome to the channel. Please ignore everything in the background. I thought I'd film here today because A, the lighting's better in this room, so I don't have to use a giant light, and yeah, that's why, basically. I didn't want to sit in my weird room with just that. Okay, today we're going to talk about how people with neurodiversity's brain differs from people without. I'm going to refer to them as normal people. Sorry, I could see paracetamols on the floor. I'm going to refer to them as normal people and refer to us as neurodiverse people. Okay, and then as I talk about more specific people, like more specific neurodiversities, I will say ADHD, dyslexia. Okay, so in this category that I'm aware of, there's ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia and Tourette's. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch more, but I don't know of them. I'm just going to go over ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, mainly because it took me a long time to research just these four, so I, at this point, couldn't be asked to research Tourette's. Although, sorry I dropped my phone on my leg, although the last thing that I researched, I was like, this is going to be the last thing because I'm tired now, was the most interesting study relating to neurodiversity that I've found. So if you want to know that, watch to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video, yada yada yada. Let's get into it. So, first things first, we need to realise that saying that our brains differ in one big lump sum would be silly, because all neurodiversity issues, your brain differs slightly different, but there is a kind of way of summarising it. I've wrote this down, so I'm going to read this bit off my thingy. So, we all have several parts of the brain that work together to make us do things, keep us concentrated, make us read. If you have neurodiversities, the links between the brain does not work as well. So basically, you have these things called neurons in your brain, and this is my explanation of neurons, and this is neurotransmitters. So one neuron sends neurotransmitters to the next neuron. The thing is, with people with neurodiversity, the transmission needs to kind of happen from both sides for anything to really happen. People with neurodiversity, one side happens, the other side isn't quite linked up, so things don't connect very well. Either this one goes a bit too long and then this one, or the other way around and then this one, and instead of them working together, they just don't work as well. And there's several parts in your brain, all of them have this neurotransmitter in it, and that's what make you do things. There's different parts of your brain that are affected mainly with people with neurodiversity. So there's the caudate nucleus, and this controls decision making and behaviour, intentional behaviour, sorry. So this is something that a lot of ADHD people will find. And dyspraxias are also known to be hard at making decisions. I wrote that really badly on this thingy. But yeah, so there's the caudate, there's also the amygdala, which controls emotion and actions, which is something that ADHD, dyspraxia and autism all have a hard time with. Sorry if I'm looking at my phone a lot. This is, as I said, very sciencey, and I'm not a particularly science person, and I don't have like a big screen to have it, so I need to kind of read. There's also the prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus and the temporal lobe, which all control first short-term memory, then the movement from short-term memory to long-term memory, and then long-term memory. So all of these are affected, obviously, if they're not linking together very well. Dyslexias, ADHD and dyspraxia all have issues with either the retention of memory, so dyspraxia is mainly putting things into your short-term memory and then moving them into long-term memory, whereas ADHD, you have things in your long-term memory, but being able to retrieve them is a big issue. So they are parts of the brain affected. Okay, so then I researched how brain scans differ for people with a normal brain to people with different neurodiversities. So first, I looked at ADHD, and they said that scans showed delayed in development in the frontal lobe, which controls impulse control, concentration, attention, and planning, which makes sense with someone with ADHD. Dyslexia scans showed that the cerebral cortex, I believe that's around this area, which control processing, motor analytics, attention and language. Also the thalamus, which controls, so the thalamus, when you like touch things or you eat things, it goes there and then sends it to the different parts of your brain to let you know, like, oh, this tastes good, or this is how we read. When you see words, it goes in there and then tells you, oh, we need to read. And that didn't work as well with people with dyslexia. Dyspraxia, it was actually really hard to find any scientific evidence of how the brain differed for someone with dyspraxia, but I wrote a word down, but I didn't write how to spell it. So cerebellum, I'll put the word on the screen because I cannot pronounce that word. I only actually knew how to pronounce the word caudate. I'll put that on the screen as well because I remembered at the time to actually put down the spelling. Okay, yeah, so that's with dyspraxia, and this was the most fascinating thing. People with autism, they didn't state that there was an issue actually with this neurotransmitters, but they did see a very big link with children's brain growth and autism. So if your brain grew twice as fast, you were more likely to have autism than other children. So obviously your brain grows naturally anyway, but people with autism, their brain grew significantly faster to the point of within a year they had twice the brain size of a normal person. And they found that the faster your brain grew, the more that larger your brain was to other people, the more you were bad in social situations. Sorry, that's not a great way to explain it, but I don't know how else to explain it. Not only was there a link between the growth of a brain and autism, but also how fast your brain grew and your inability in social situations, which I thought was absolutely fascinating, because that one kind of contradicts the whole there is your neurodiversity link, because I don't think that your neurotransmitters predict how big your brain is. And that's why they always say people with autism are very smart, they just don't like to talk to people. That was my very fun fact. I hope that this made sense, because I've realised that this is probably like a 2-minute video because I've just spoke really quickly through what took me a good 3 hours to research. Sorry guys. But then I seen an article that said about 2 different things, about calling autism a neurodiversity. People were saying that calling it a neurodiversity kind of suggests that you think that it's just normal and there shouldn't be any medication to improve it or any research behind trying to improve it. And I don't think that. It's not the same as like being gay, for example. That's something that you can't change, and medication, even if it could change you, shouldn't be a thing. But this is what the article compared it to. They said they're comparing it to it's just another thing that we have to adapt to and live with. And I don't think so. I think there should still be research on possible medication for people that need it, because things like autism and ADHD affect so many things in your life, whereas I feel like dyslexia isn't so bad because it's just reading, and in your adult life you could really find a way of not reading all the time, or reading less, or doing a job that doesn't require much reading. So I feel that it still needs research, and I don't think by me calling it neurodiversity isn't me trying to say like we shouldn't do anything about it. It's just a way of grouping everyone together. Also, I seen another thing that said if you can tell from a brain scan if someone has dyslexia, dyspraxia, autism, ADHD, why can we not just test children under a brain scanner? And I don't think this should be a thing either. Like, I think if you really want to know and you're up for that, fair enough, but I don't think that we should subject children to brain scanning because it can be very scary. I'm pretty sure they're not very good side effects of being under a brain scanner all the time, so you should really minimise it. And I think if there's a way of doing it without that, then why wouldn't you do it? If there's tests that already show as reliable as a brain scan, then a test is perfectly fine, and it should just be used more for science to figure out how we can improve the medication or the way that schools teach you to, to improve the disability, if that makes any sense. Wasn't that autism one fascinating though? I just thought that was very interesting. So I'm going to have a look more into autism, because I've spoke about ADHD, autism and dyslexia quite a bit, I feel, now on this channel, and that's my next thing that I'm going to look into. If you like this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope it wasn't too short, and I hope I didn't speak too fast. I feel like I rambled a little. See you in the next one. Oh, it's October, and I'm going to try very hard to put up more videos this month to, you know, be a good human and be part of the Vlogtober, October, I don't know what it's called, thing. I can't do a video every day because it's not possible, but I can try and put up more videos in October. Can be back in the swing of it. Yeah, that's the video. I'm sorry that I rambled. I hope you enjoy. Thanks, bye.